dApps, or decentralized applications, are the wave of the future, and with the growth of Web3, they're getting more popular than ever before. But there is a big problem with them. With all of these unique blockchain-based ways of getting information to people, there's also a lot of resistance from the established players that don't want to give up their crown so easily. So today, we're going to talk about what's happening to make life so difficult for dApps and how your dApp can find success regardless. My name is Trent Kennelly. I'm a Web3 marketing strategist, and this is the best place for you to learn about Web3, NFTs, and how to market it all. So if that sounds good to you and you're excited, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, comment to let me know your biggest struggle with dApp marketing. I would love to know your perspective and even help you out in the comments, and let's get started. So you're building a dApp. Congratulations, that's great. Let's first talk about what that exactly means. Now, of course, a dApp is a decentralized application, and in the vast majority of cases, decentralized ultimately just means crypto or blockchain based, right? Which doesn't always mean that the app is there for monetary exchange to take place, but it does nonetheless mean that decentralization is largely based around those currencies, and so we always have to keep that in mind. Bitcoin, Ethereum, some other digital currency is always kind of in the back of our minds when we're thinking about decentralization in this way. And this actually is the biggest problem with dApps, because blockchain-based, crypto-based stuff, while it's the greatest strength, also its greatest weakness, because this brings a lot of different real-world factors into play in a way that isn't always super helpful for Web3 users. Like, for instance, I don't think that there can be any debate that while people in Web3 want to move the internet to a new, better place, and that is like the core goal, that's the real mission of all Web3 users, they're also business people in a lot of senses, and they're looking to make money when they're putting out a dApp, right? That's probably why you're building a dApp. You're looking for ways to monetize your skills, right? The entire concept of decentralization in a lot of ways just kind of surrounds money and currency. But if you don't have enough people in the Web3 game, you don't have a way to find the success that you're looking for.
Well, then get in the game, we're losing.
What Web3 needs right now is critical mass. And how do you get critical mass? How do you get a gigantic number of people coming to use these Web3 applications? You put Web3 apps in a place where people already congregate, right? If you want to sell croissants, you don't do it in a dark alley that nobody walks past. You sell your croissants where people are in the light of day, right? Which means that we cannot sit around in our caves of decentralization if we want people to get in the door, right? We need to put ourselves in the face of the public. We need to get out there and build that critical mass. And what's a good way to get your app or business in front of more people? The Apple and Google app stores, right? That's a natural way that you would want to get in front of people. But, and this is especially true when it comes to Apple, though it's also true for Google, there is a big problem that's preventing most dApps from getting established on these app stores. And that problem is the revenue share model. So here's how these stores make money. You post an app, and if you charge for it or you make money from it in any way, the App Store gets a cut from that app. So if you run ads on your game, the App Store gets a cut of the ad revenue. If you sell things directly, if you're an Etsy, any of those sorts of things, if they're making money through the app, you have to pay a commission to Apple or to Google, whoever referred that traffic, right? And for Apple, that number gets as high as 30% of the total sales price. That is a really hefty commission. And that actually, by the way, is why Epic Games got into a huge fight with Apple a few years ago. They didn't want to pay millions in commissions to Apple for just existing on their app store. I can kind of understand it. A 30% commission is very high. And because crypto isn't accepted as readily, and really not at all by Apple, as fiat currency like USD or euros is, and because there are so many cryptocurrency options, I mean, we're not just talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's wrapped Ethereum, there's wrapped Bitcoin, there's Mana, there's SUSD, there's hundreds of them, Dogecoin, whatever. Because of that, Apple is finding that commissions are being very easily circumvented by dApps. And so now, as of today, that being December 2nd, 2022, Coinbase has just tweeted that Apple is blocking their latest update because they argue Apple should be receiving 30% of the gas fee required to transfer NFTs. So Apple is saying that they require 30% of a fee that Coinbase can't pay even if they wanted to, and isn't going to Coinbase anyway. So it seems like either the reviewer didn't understand how this works, or Apple more generally doesn't understand how crypto works. So there's an interesting fight that's going to be brewing here. So as a result, the only dApps that can seemingly get on iOS right now at this point are wallets like MetaMask and marketplaces like OpenSea and dApp Radar. Though I wouldn't really be surprised if Apple starts coming after them next, because it's the same issue with transference, right? So that's really disappointing, because we had a lot of potential with products like, for instance, Trust Wallet, which, yes, is another wallet, but it was also shaping up to be the go-to app store for dApps on mobile devices, until Apple forced them to remove that dApp store from their app if they wanted to remain an app on the App Store. So even if we want to get these apps onto those more public-facing app stores that everybody is using, it's just not looking possible at the moment. So what are some solutions? I mean, it's probably not a good idea to sit around hoping Apple and Google will suddenly open their doors to crypto. It's probably not going to happen. They are looking for their cut. And unless it's clearly laid out how that can happen, we're probably not going to see much progress here. But we could definitely look at some other app stores, couldn't we? There are some alternative app stores out there that you could potentially use without breaking your phone, aka without hacking it to release the restrictions that have been placed on it by Apple or Google. And some of these include App Valley, Tweakbox, and Zabzi. But there's a problem with this too, right? And it's a problem that Web3 in general is still facing. That problem is simplicity. People don't want to have to go to a website to download a server to their Mac that lets them download an app that they can use to find other apps. And they don't want to have to download and set up a wallet before they can log into anything. They want to click a button that gets them what they want. That is now, and has always been, the clear advantage of Apple in general, a quick way to reach satisfaction. They just make it super simple. So what does this mean for us? Well, the sad reality is, of course, that we're probably not going to have access to those main app stores, at least until regulators come in and force them to allow users to access other marketplaces besides the official app store, which is looking like a real possibility in the EU under the Digital Markets Act. In any case, the job now is to get back to basics. And the most basic way to market is to get in front of your audience where they are right now. And the first thing I'd do is find out where groups using dApps are looking for information. One great option right now is dApp Radar. This is the largest dApp marketplace out there today, and listing a dApp isn't really different from listing something on the Google or Apple app stores. You fill out the information, submit, and wait for approval. And once that's done, the good news is that you can market your project directly through dApp Radar. And while yes, advertising on dApp Radar is very expensive compared to other platforms, let me just remind you that this is a tailor-made audience. These people are looking for dApps, so you can serve to this audience much more directly, which should mean that you get higher engagement rates, which should mean that you get higher conversions. I mean, just look at the categories on dApp Radar. There are less than 10, and they're basically surrounding either gaming, networking, or money. We all know that these are the core desires driving Web3 at the moment. So if your dApp can speak to any of those, then getting in front of your audience using advertising on dApp Radar is worth the money, no question.
It's worth it.
Next, let's look at some more traditional channels, and let's add a little bit of a twist to them, okay? So we can start by looking at decentralized social media platforms. I talk a lot about decentralized social media in this video, but what I really want to drive home here is that decentralized social media drives decentralized audiences. People who are interested in decentralized sources, who don't want to be part of that big bulk of being controlled by the big bad guy people, right? And I must sound like a broken record at this point with the statement I'm about to make, but decentralized social media means finding more niche audiences that will have a higher level of interest and engagement with your dApp, so it is absolutely worth it. Another avenue you should really consider is SEO. Yes, Web3 SEO is a thing. Please don't roll your eyes, okay? But it is vital that you remember that SEO isn't some stagnant force sitting in the shadows and kind of moving things about the chessboard, okay? It is ever changing and ever improving, and you need to stay on top of it. And blockchain-based technology is going to take SEO to a different level, because things like semantic HTML code and different search formats like voice search are going to change the results that are being displayed. Then when you put Web3 browsers like Brave or Web3 search engines like Presearch in the mix, you're going to find that the way search is done is different there as well. So SEO is very important, but it also requires that you stay on top of those trends. Don't just sit back and expect it to come to you. And finally, I really suggest affiliate marketing. An affiliate marketer gets paid a commission to sell your product to their network or audience on your behalf. And affiliate marketing is very much alive in Web3. I mean, if you consider that so much of Web3 is based on currency, it's only natural that affiliate marketing would be a big part of that, right? It makes sense. However, just a word of caution, it's not always simple to run affiliate marketing campaigns. In fact, if you aren't very intentional about it, you can end up hurting your brand more than helping it. You really don't want to be giving out affiliate codes to just anybody that asks for one. And if you do end up doing that, then you need to be very fast with the ban hammer, because you don't want your site showing up on those junk discount code sites with a code that never actually works, but the person clicks through from that discount code site to your website. So now there's an affiliate link, and now you have to pay that person for being the affiliate, even though all they really did was damage your brand just a little bit, and a little bit over time becomes a lot, right? So you don't want affiliates doing that, and you don't want affiliates running ads on your behalf. That's your job as the owner and as the marketer of the dApp. You don't want them to do that, because that messes with your brand as well. Keep that brand very tight. That's important. So if you keep rules like this in place, some strong rules, you should be fine, but just be very intentional here. So look, I don't want to scare you. dApps are still the future, but they are definitely going to have some challenges before they can get to that next level. We have some things that we need to overcome. That said, as more people adopt dApps, the likelihood of getting those bigger platforms like the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store to start paying attention and adopting that sort of a mentality is going to get higher and higher, okay? So let me know what your biggest struggle in marketing your dApp has been up to this point. Otherwise, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, and I will catch you in the next one.